Welcome back, friends. Today I'm sharing with you some recipes that I found online, and I just wanted to try these out, and I thought these might be good for a Mother's Day brunch if you want to try to do something like that for Mother's Day. Maybe this would give you an idea of something you can do. But this one is a ham and cheese puff, and you need 2 cups of chopped up fresh spinach. You need 1 cup of Swiss cheese, and you want to half that. Also, some cubed up ham, so you need a half a pound. Some salt and pepper to taste, and it calls for nutmeg, so it's optional. If you don't like it, you don't have to add it, but I'm going to add it. And 1 cup of warm milk, 2 tablespoons of flour, and 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. You're going to need puff pastry sheets, so you need 2 of those. And I'm going to show you how to put this one together, and it is really easy. So you want to thaw your dough, your puff pastry, and then cut them into 5 by 5 inch squares. And you may have to roll it out a little bit just to kind of get to where it's 5 by 5 inches, but it doesn't take much to do that. So it only takes a second to do that. And then you're going to put those in the refrigerator while we start this next step. So 2 tablespoons of butter, you want to melt that, and then add a pinch of salt, and then you're going to add the flour. Now for the flour, in the butter, it's similar to a roux that you're making, but we're going to make a bechamel sauce. But for now, we want to get this to a pale golden color. So you don't want this to be a roux that's like for gumbo or anything. It's more of a pale color. So as you can see here, that's the color I ended up with. I'm going to add that warm milk, and I'm going to add just half of it. And then I want to mix everything completely in first. Try to get that butter, incorporated and everything, and try to get any lumps that are there out. So you definitely want a smooth consistency with this. And then I'm going to add the rest of the milk and just continue to cook this until it sort of comes to a little bit of a boil. And then once that happens, you're going to turn it down to a simmer and cook it until it becomes thick. So it'll take about 10 minutes or so to get to that, thickness that you're looking for. Once you get it to, like I said, you'll notice when it starts to get thicker. And as you can see here, I'm trying to show you a little bit. You see that thickness there. Add in the spinach, and you just want to get that coated with that, a little bit of sauce there, and cook it down for about a minute. You want to kind of have this wilt and shrink up a little bit. Now you're going to add in a half a cup of the cheese, and it's not going to melt completely. I noticed, and I did shred this from a block of cheese, so I thought it would, melt a little bit better. And then I'm going to add in the ham and just get that fully coated with that mixture. But as I said, with the cheese, you'll still see some, shredded pieces there. But once it goes in the oven, it will melt a lot better than, doing this on the stove. I'm going to add some pepper, and then I'm going to add some of that nutmeg. You don't have to add that if you don't want. I know, some people don't like nutmeg, but I do like it with spinach and dishes, like this. So just once you have all of that mixed in completely, turn off your stove, and then just put this to the side. Take out the puff pastry sheets you had in the refrigerator. Add about 1 to 2 tablespoons of that mixture, and then add the other half of the cheese that you had, reserved on the side, and put that on top. And then you're going to basically close these up, and you just kind of, bring the corners to the middle. Now, these will expand when you bake them, so they're, not all of them are going to stay completely closed, like a little pocket, unless, you really tighten up that middle, piece, which I didn't really bother with too much. But I took an egg wash, so it's 1 egg and a tablespoon of water, and beat the egg a little bit, and then just brush it onto the puff pastry. Put this in the oven on 400. Make sure your oven's preheated, and bake it for about 20 minutes or until it's golden brown. And then this is what you end up with. And as you can see, mostly, they stay open somewhat. That one stayed a little closed. But no matter how they are, they taste delicious. This next one is a raspberry chocolate cannoli shell. So it's a mouthful. But I thought this looked good. I saw this on the Pepperidge Farm website, and it just looked good to me. So you need 1 pack of puff pastry shells, and they have 6 in a box. I'm using the same egg wash that I previously used. And it called for a bag of frozen red raspberries, 10 ounces. I ended up not using that, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but I preferred the fresh. And I did use about 5 tablespoons of powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon of almond extract. You'll need 1 cup of ricotta cheese, the whole milk version, and some slivered almonds. I just used a bag that I had. It had about a half a cup in it, and I didn't even use all of those. It called for dark chocolate, 4 ounces. They didn't have that one, so I got the semi-sweet, and that worked out fine. You're really not using too much of it, per se. But you do get these, they're frozen. You break them apart. They come like all together. Break them apart, put them on a lined cookie sheet. Take that egg wash, and you want to just brush the tops of those. And it says not to get it on the sides or anything, but you put this in the oven. Make sure your oven's preheated, and bake it for about 18 minutes. While I did that, I'm just shaving off some of the chocolate from about 2 ounces of the chocolate pieces. And you're not looking for curls. You're just looking for, shredding that with a peeler. And so you need 2 tablespoons. Once they come out of the oven, and they did, get nice and brown, a couple of them did not turn out so great. So I don't know what happened. They just did not, puff up the way they should have. And like I said, it looks great on the box, but not so much here. I don't know if anybody else ever has any issues with, baking these. But like I said, it looks good on the box. Then I just took a knife and cut out the tops. So just go around, and you want to just put those pieces on the side. It says you can cover these with chocolate and serve it with the dessert. And I did take some of, the inside of the puff pastry out, because I wanted to make sure I had enough room to, put that filling in. And I didn't feel like some of this was cooked completely, so I kind of just, took that out. And then, as I said, you're going to take these and just melt your chocolate, and you're going to coat those. I'm also going to coat the tops of these as well. But the first thing I'm going to do is take the ricotta cheese and the powdered sugar. And I like to put my powdered sugar in a sifter or a sieve, and just kind of get that a little, better texture. You can see here how it starts ending up with these little small pieces, and I don't feel like if I throw it into, put it into the mixture, it kind of stays lumpy. It doesn't, spread very well in there. So I like to definitely sift my powdered sugar when I can. And then I'm just going to mix that up and make sure, that powdered sugar dissolves into the ricotta cheese. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of the almond extract, which smells awesome, and add the shaved chocolate into that. Just mix it up really well. I felt like it needed just a little bit more ricotta cheese, so I did add a little bit more. When you're making it, if you make it, you'll have to decide if you want to add a little bit more to it, but I feel like that worked out better. I melted the rest of the chocolate that I had, and I'm just coating the tops of the puff pastry shells, and I'm just going to let these dry on the wire rack. You can serve these along with the dessert if you want. I just chose not to do that and ate those separately. But I do take the shells and just coat just the rim of it with the chocolate, because I noticed the picture had that. The recipe itself did not say to do that, but I went ahead anyway and just thought it would have a better, look to it. And it just gave a nicer, presentation to the dessert. So once you, coat the rims, take the ricotta mixture, put about 1 to 2 tablespoons into each shell, and I just basically filled it up. And then this is where I did not use the raspberries that were frozen because they looked awful. I didn't feel like it would give a good presentation, and it would be messy because it was all melted and you had the sauce and everything to it, the syrup. But I added fresh raspberries instead and just put those almond slivers in around it. You can always, you can put it on top and then put the, first and then put the raspberries. And I only did 3 because we weren't going to eat all 6 at one time because it was just my husband and myself. So I put the rest in the refrigerator and just stored the shells in a airtight container till the next day. And this is a quick and easy little drink that you can make. I just had the raspberry lemonade one and 3 ounces of 7-Up. You can use Sprite if you want. The recipe says to add about 1/3 cup of fresh or frozen raspberries. I will say I did not like it in this drink. So that is totally up to you. I felt it was just mushy. I don't know if it's because it was frozen and they were thawed. It did not like it. I don't think I would have liked the fresh ones in it either. I mixed the lemonade with the Sprite and poured it in over that. And then I had this cute little ice tray with the butterflies, and I just froze the raspberry lemonade, and just made ice cubes with it and put those in there. I thought it, was cute. But everything was delicious. And then with the spinach and ham cheese puffs, I served just, a little bit of a salad on the side. And then this really was good. This raspberry chocolate cannoli shell, it was delicious. So I did enjoy that. And I did enjoy the spinach and cheese puff pastry. The only thing I did not like was the raspberries in that drink. So that's the only thing. All I did was, after I videoed this, I poured that out into, strained out those raspberries and drank the rest of the drink. So that's the only thing I did not like about it. But hopefully this would give you some ideas maybe for making a little, brunch or something for your mother on Mother's Day. And if I would have had more time, I would have added some other little treats to this as well. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in seeing more like it, please click that subscribe button and the notification bell. That will notify you when I post new videos. I hope everyone has a blessed day and a very happy Mother's Day. God bless y'all.